Okay, this lesson is going to cover putting a slot in our test block. First thing we need to do is go into the student shared drive. Most of you have probably already done this. We're going to go to LOLHS, Dairy, Resources, HSM Works, Training Files. Whoop, went back one. We're going to grab this test block. You can copy that and open up your CNC folder and drag that file. You can take that test block and put it right in your HSM Works folder. Once you've copied it, I'd like you to rename it to your last name. All right. I already have one here that I've named, and I'm going to use that one. I'm just going to rename this test block too, just to show you what I mean. All right, so I've got a copy. I already have SolidWorks open. Save a little bit of time and show you what kind of work we're going to do. So here's my block. I've got a few different coordinate systems already created. We did it as a group. You may have been absent. I'll show you how to put the coordinate system in for the slot that's going to be on the bottom of our part. So you're going to want to rotate your part so that the slot is facing up. And the corner we're going to select for our coordinate system is the origin over here. So under Features, we're going to go to Reference Geometry, Coordinate System, select that guy. For the x-axis, we want this, which is already selected. For the y-axis, we want this. And I have my z pointed up, so that means that this is positive x values, positive y values. That's exactly what I'm looking for. If yours is pointing in the opposite direction, notice if you flip your y-axis, it'll change the direction of the z. So we want our triad showing the z pointing up, x to the right, and y away from us. I'm going to hit OK. This new coordinate system does not have a name that's significant to us. It's this coordinate system 1. I'm going to rename it to say coordinate system slot so that we pick the right one. Once we have that set, we're going to go to our CAM tab. Now I have a couple of jobs already set up here. I'm going to delete that slot job and start over again. You may have no jobs, and that's okay. We're going to go to the job folder, and when we create a new job, we want to tell it which coordinate system. Now if this is not selected, you can clear that selection. You can come over here, find your coordinate system that we just created, and hit OK. Now I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to name this job to be the slot, so I'm not confused. I have one job that's the top, one's going to be the side, and one's going to be the bottom. So we have 3 different jobs set up to machine this one part. I've been experimenting, and it turns out that the existing geometry is not going to give us the option of using the slot command. So we're going to need to create some new sketches or a new sketch in order to use the slot command as it's intended. So this is something that you should know how to do. It's not uncommon that the model doesn't contain the geometry that we need. Sometimes it's a workaround if we want to make tabs. So in order to make a sketch, we need to be back over here in our Feature Manager Design Tree, which is the yellow little cube. And we're going to grab the Sketch tool. And it's very important that you select the right surface to sketch on. I'm going to select the bottom plane that represents the bottom of my slot. All right. I'm going to say sketch. I can click here, or I can click here to create a sketch. Notice it's created a new sketch for me here. I'm going to look normal too. I like to look straight on to see what I'm doing. Now, there happens to be a slot tool for drawing as well. So I'm going to grab my slot tool. And this is also important. I want to make sure I select the center of the existing slot. And I get that little orange dot. or square rather. Click on that, and I'm going to drag over to the other side. And once again, I want to make sure I pick the center, so I'm going to click there. Then I'm just going to make it slightly oversized. Now I know the width of this slot is 3/8 of an inch, so I'm going to come up to my dimension tool. I'm going to select the top line, then the bottom line, and I can type in 3 divided by 8, and I've got my slot created. Exit my sketch by coming up here, and I'm going to go back to my Cam tab and now use this sketch that I've created as the source for my geometry for my slot operation. So under 2D milling, you'll find the slot option. As always, the first thing that we need to do is select our tools. So I'm going to go to the library. You should have loaded the Tormach aluminum library. We're going to use tool number 2, which is a 3/8 roughing end mill. Hit select. We're going to leave the speeds and feeds alone. We're going to go to our geometry now, and there's a couple of ways to select this, but I think the easiest thing to do is to come over here and go right down and just select the sketch, and it will highlight it all blue. Now we can give our heights, but I'm going to go ahead and click on that tab and show you that it's already done it for us. So it's going to go from the top of the stock to the contour that we selected, which is perfectly fine. We could go in there and make some selections on our own, but you can see that the selections that were pulled, because we drew the sketch on the bottom of that slot, are going to work just fine for us. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to generate the tool path, and notice how the slotting command works. Instead of spiraling in, it ramps down, and then does a final pass on the level. So we can preview that with the simulate. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I got it going in reverse. And we can also play it here. I'm going to slow this guy down. Once we're done, we're happy with that. Again, we've got to post our job, and we're going to save it to our folder and then to our flash drive. So I'm going to hit open folder. Oops, sorry, I want to hit this guy. I'm going to go to my CNC folder, which is on my desktop. Here we go. And I'm going to call it last name, first initial, slot, hit save, and we're good. Here's our G code. Once that comes up, we can close it out, and we're